So, welcome back to the channel. We got another Piers Morgan reaction, and this time, racism? Question mark? I heard there was racism in this one, so I wanted to check it out. Do these campaigns show America's ugliest colors? All right, let's get all into the juice.
Question Fit podcast. Myron Gaines, the host of Night School
Bot number one.
YouTube, Mark Lamont Hill, Lily Gaddis.
I don't dislike Mark Lamont. I just think he's a little too pro-black for me.
He's a social media commentator.
Bot number two.
His video defense of the N-word mother has so far been viewed millions of times on X. And the New York Post columnist and author,
I don't know who this is.
Ricky Schlott. Well, welcome to all of you. Ricky, look, my take on this is a stain on all their houses, right? I just don't know what is happening to society when you have such vast sums of money being raised for what seems to me to be deliberate, racially charged, motivational reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fighting ugly with ugly right now. And I think this level of racial tribalism and hostility is just simply not sustainable in such a diverse democracy like America. I think it's, one is really a reaction to the other. I think both campaigns are really hideous. And I think we're showing our ugliest colors. I mean, in the scheme of things, these are small sums relative to the population of America. But you do see, I think, a really tremendous explosion of ugliness and racial hostility that I think that we should all be ashamed and embarrassed of.
Yeah, I mean, you described it, I think, in one of your posts as genuinely, is this a psyop? This would be the best $1 million invested by a foreign adversary to start a race war in America. And I knew exactly what you're getting at, because many of the comments, I think the comments have now been suspended actually on both of the.
Let's see how this kind of plays. I don't have an opinion yet.
Funding pages, because people were quite obviously deliberately misusing them to post race baiting commentary.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go through some of the comments on either of them, you have White Lives Matter on one side, and like suggestions that the teenage boy who was stabbed was somehow like a manifestation of white supremacy, and it seems to be just a fight at a track meet that has nothing to do with racial hostility.
Am I losing my hair? Is this a bald spot? I feel like I'm losing my hair, bro. Am I becoming bald? My dad is bald. My grandfather is bald. Am I becoming bald? This feels like a bald spot. I don't know if this is my hair. I don't know if this is normal. I might have to cut all this off. I might have to be one of those short-haired guys moving forward. My Samoan blood is not kicking in hard enough.
Hostility in the first place. And the poor father of this young man who died too said, please don't make this into a racial issue. And yet on his own Give, Send, Go campaign, there are comments after comments saying this is White Lives Matter, we're avenging against Carmelo Anthony's family. I mean, on all ends, this is ugly. I think that it's really co-opting the charity and giving community. I mean, I feel bad for the fundraising platforms, because I don't think this was the intention originally. But unfortunately, I think that people are really starting to take over good.
Is this a situation where the mother called the boy and the N-word, and she got millions of dollars from GoFundMe because of a bunch of racist white people? I feel like that's what this is, right? Okay. Well, actually, hold on. Shiloh Hendricks was caught on camera continuing to use the N-word after directing it toward a 5-year-old boy, so it was, she says, stole from her child. She's now running a fundraising campaign, so 100%. And then there's something else. And on the same website, there's another high-profile campaign for Carmelo Anthony, the black teenager charged with stabbing a white boy to death at a school track meet in April. The fact that anybody's getting any funding from doing racist stuff is wild to me. I'm not gonna lie. That's wild to me. That's not okay.
Intense and the charity industrial complex to make it into a victim industrial complex, and it's really sad to see.
Well, we're going to have one of the founders of the Give, Send, Go site a little later in the program. But Mark Lamont Hill, you were shaking your head there. I mean, what's your take on this?
There are a couple of things that were said that I think are really interesting and important. One, there is an outside audience of people who are watching all of this and opportunistically using it for their own agendas and projects. You know, I have an investment in believing X, so I'm going to jump in the comments of this GoFundMe, etc. I have an investment in Y, I'm going to do the same thing. But what I don't want to do is compare these two things as if they're opposite sides of the same coin. For me, the intention of the campaign matters. In the case of this woman who is using the N-word, The woman isn't disputing using the N-word. The woman isn't disputing being racist. And the comments that are being left on the site before they were suspended and the attitudes behind it weren't saying she's being railroaded, she's being misrepresented. They were simply saying, we support racism. And I think that's disgusting, no matter who's doing it. On the other hand, the people who are fundraising for Carmelo Anthony, the argument here isn't, yeah, we did something and we don't care, like the other woman. The argument is, we're being misrepresented here. We're being railroaded. This was a self-defense claim. This is not an act of violence. This is a first-degree murder. I'm saying what they're saying. This isn't my argument. They're saying this is a first-degree murder claim that is wrong. This is actually self-defense, and we need the money to make sure that we get a fair trial. I think, and so whether you agree with his argument or not, I think raising money for a fair trial is different than raising money for a racist.
I mean, I think the common theme between the two.
Okay, I think that's a very strong point. Now, I don't know the context, so I can't really say if this is a valid point to make. Or are you trying to obfuscate from the actuality of what is going on? It's hard to say since I haven't really looked into either situation too in-depthly. I've been more focused on more grand political things that are going on. But in the purposes of what I do, I definitely should pay attention to these more culture, social issues stuff and trying to give commentary in regards to that. Ultimately, they are substantively different because the intent, I agree with Mark, does matter if he is correct based off his interpretation. Based on what's going on, based on evidence, it's possible false allegations happen all the time. It could be a self-defense situation, which that nuance is very particular, and funding probably would be warranted, especially if they are correct. I don't know. I'm just regurgitating what he said. But endorsing racism and endorsing saying the N-word, there's no justification for that. There's no nuance there. So I think that's a strong point. I think that's a fair point.
And this is not to pass any view about it at this stage, although I have strong views about it. I guess the common theme is that both of them say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And as a result, they've had death threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. You know, I understand that part of the argument. You know, when you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats, and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating, if not outright dangerous. So it's different really to taking a view about either of the cases to simply say that the commonality is that they both, I think, have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves. Either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the N-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
But my quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody's telling the truth.
I mean, I'm be honest, a woman getting millions of dollars for saying the N-word, I don't feel sympathy, like, at all. Should she be getting death threats? No. I never think it's justified to get death threats for saying the N-word, but does she get my sympathy? No. So two things can be true.
Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated, and I think that's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however, let's assume she's also telling the truth, that she used the word, she thinks the kid was acting like one. She feels like she has a right to use that word against that small baby because of whatever age-appropriate thing the kid did. If she's telling the truth and she's getting doxxed and harassed, I don't know if I want to reward her behavior with $500,000. I don't think she should be doxxed. I don't think she should be harassed. I think she has been mistreated to the extent that no one should be. You have a right to be racist. You have a right to free speech in this country. But I'm not donating money for it, and I feel a lot worse about her GoFundMe than the one for the person who's been railroaded.
Yeah, well, Lily Gaddis, you posted
I think that's fair.
of Shiloh on X, has been viewed 2.5 million times, in which it was entitled "White People Are Finally Fighting Back. Stand with Shiloh Hendricks." What did you mean by that? Tax day has passed, but for millions of Americans, that's where the trouble begins.
All right, are we going to see Piers Morgan's right-wing rhetoric, or are we going to see true unbiased journalism? Let's see.
Here's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as
Not dead ass. Dead ass. Not dead ass. Not dead ass. No way that you use systematic racism in behalf of white people. Dead ass? Dead ass. Like, really? Oh, really? Oh, okay. 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 All right.
As Black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States, it's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges. White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 2016 and BLM and all the riots. We just had to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it. So the way to fight back against essentially this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on our side.
What the fuck are you talking about? White unity? Unify under someone calling a 5-year-old child the N-word? What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, dead ass? What are you talking about? This is some bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. She is chatty. I mean, she's bot number 2. Am I surprised she's saying bot stuff? No, she's a bot. She just says stuff that endorses Republican bullshit. I'm not gonna say Republican. I'm not gonna say all Republicans believe that white people are systematically being racist against, and that they should unify with the woman who called a 5-year-old the N-word. I'm not gonna put that label on all Republicans.
Hang on. Okay, but hang on. Sorry, just to be clear, this has got nothing to do with anything you've just said. This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the N-word, first at a young child, and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. And so I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything you've just said. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
well,
white
about
people
her.
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in the country.
Yo, oh my god! Like, I'm not surprised that she's MAGA. I'm not surprised they have these dog shit dumb takes. I'm not. I'm just not surprised at all. I just think what is funny here is how easily she's saying it. What is funny here is how confidently she's saying it. That's the funny part here. That's the hilarious part in this equation right now.
You have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm. I do, quite frankly.
You use the N-word.
Like, she's so okay with being yo, America's so cooked. These right-wingers are getting bold. They are getting bold. Oh, whoa. They think their cult leader is going to protect them from anything, huh? Huh. Whoa. These right-wingers are getting bold. Oh, she's cooked. Hey, I'm not for cancel culture, but get her the hell out of here, all right? We gotta get her out of here. Because what the fuck is she talking about? Oh my god, what?
Quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, but if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, includes.
Oh,
I mean, child is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, just to be clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Right. Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it.
Yo, Oh my goodness. Oh, Piers, man. This is hilarious. I'm glad. But Piers, even you can't protect this right winger. This right winger is too much to protect now. Hey, hey Piers. Yo, she is a terrible person. Oh my goodness. At least she's honest about it. Oh my
On
god.
in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist. And you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a country that should
What do you
be
mean your country?
Because I'm white and my
What, there are no black people in American history? Is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading you,
yes.
your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves: do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
I don't disagree, Mark. Listen, I didn't know she was going to say that. I don't disagree with you.
No. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think you knew it.
Oh my goodness. What did you think, Piers, man? What did you think? A lot of us who actually can see with both eyes open realize the type of people that right wingers are. The funny thing is that when we call out the bullshit they say, we also, well, people like me call out the bullshit the left says too. But for some reason, your Donald Trump glasses cloud you on the terrible people that you bring on the right, but you know when they're terrible when they're on the left. I'm glad that there's a threshold for you, Piers Morgan, where it's so obvious when someone's a piece of garbage that you have to call them out. And this woman is a piece of garbage. She is a terrible person. I'm so glad we're on the same page for once, Piers. Let's dap up. Maybe we can come together and reach a better society, because she wants me gone, and maybe you can help me stay around. She probably would want to put a collar around my neck and call me monkey. I'm sure she would love that. So, terrible person. I wonder if she's getting canceled in the comment section. Why we compare some lady saying a bad word to someone who killed another person? That's where we got out of it. Piers, you didn't complain about making a killer a millionaire. Get off your high. Calling a kid the N-word is equivalent. This is Piers Morgan's audience. This is Piers Morgan's audience. And I really hope he goes in a mirror and figures out, whoa, is this the people that I've been platforming the entire time? Is this the community I've been creating the entire time? Look in the mirror, Piers Morgan. I think it's so blatant how these people have always been this way, but something prevented you from seeing them from who they really are. But now they're becoming bold. They have their cult leader in office. These people are becoming bold, and your comment section perfectly encapsulates the community you've created. Perfectly. Perfect. Oh man, this racist comment section. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, how everything comes around. I'm
saying at this moment, someone who's saying technically black people were no, technically Africans were stolen, enslaved, and they built this country. And the idea that you can justify calling a baby the N-word by saying that white people are losing the country is absurd. It's morally bankrupt, and it's honestly besides the point. I mean, these are just distractions from the fact that she wants to justify dehumanizing and even animalizing a small black child. It's disgusting.
What is it?
Yeah, I never said that.
No, you may as well have done, because you're just an unashamed.
That's the implication of
racist. Let me bring in Myron Gaines, because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
All right, let's see where on the, there's a certain animal with black and white and gray. Let's see how far he falls on that meter. Let's see if I can shame him or like people do to Uncle Ruckus. Let's see if he's an Uncle Ruckus, man. Jesus.
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like this.
No,
but
she thinks she's a racist.
Well, let me
I'm not
finish my
wagging a
point.
finger at anybody.
She's
I don't need to
self-identified as a racist.
Maren, with respect, Maren, I don't need to
Because-
wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist. I use the N-word against black people. I don't care. That's a racist. I'm
everyone
not
is
wagging
a-
any finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly. Even
Here's the
you
thing.
can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree. The reality is it depends on
Oh, yo, he's so gone. He's so gone. He is so gone. And again, these are the people that you've been associating with for years, Piers. This is the community you've created. They are becoming emboldened with the current administration and the current rhetoric of, oh yeah, this is what the people want. It's because of people like you that you've created this type of atmosphere. I'm gonna
a lot
be
of
very
people be correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, I'm not racist at all. We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make jokes. We all are racist to some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation, but everyone is racist. That's number one. Next thing I want to say,
that's a stupid
situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. And that bigger problem is what I call systemic organized. And what I mean by this is for decades, we've had black people literally running around with black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions, and then they blame the system for it.
So, in a situation where a woman called someone the N-word and a kid got stabbed, we're villainizing black people. Is that the conclusion we've made here? Very based. Very based.
For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer, they get into a physical altercation, things go left, they die, something happens, use of force is utilized, and then they want to cry about the result, when in reality, it's not the police killing black people, it's black people killing black people. And if you want to talk about black on white violence, black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white.
Oh my, these two bot 1 and bot 2, man. I'm not surprised at what they're saying. I'm just surprised at how confidently they're saying it. They're just so old.
This whole systemic racism or police brutality or, oh, it's all so messed up. The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist with impunity. They're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at black people with impunity and is proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that?
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides.
You're a bitch. How about that, Myron? You're a bitch. How about that? Is my freedom of speech protected? Myron, you're a fucking pussy. How about that? Is my freedom of speech protected there? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering. It must be, because she could just call you a little monkey and an N-word, and you're cool with it. I'm just wondering if it's my freedom of speech has to be protected too, right?
It's my personal feeling. She has the right to say
That's
it.
fine. You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
Oh, that's
And
fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous.
He's cooking. Oh man, Mark Lamont is the perfect person on here. He's super pro-black, but like some things I'm like, oh, I'm not all the way there, but I get the sentiment. Like a lot of the times there's ideological differences, me and him probably ideological differences, but he is necessary to deal with the Coon Myron or my Coon and this racist woman. So yeah.
And it's, as the only black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
Let me ask Ricky.
We're not even.
Let me ask Ricky.
This isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately saving these white people.
Hold on.
Yo, she's so uncomfortable. Like, bro, why, what is going on here? Like, I just want to talk about what is going on here? She did not think she's gonna be in a panel full of racist people. She did not think this was gonna be her day today.
This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this
It's
problem.
not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, I didn't articulate any sensitivity here. What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against Black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here. Just respond to my argument.
If you're struggling with sleepless nights and exhausting days,
Jesus Christ. Are we rewarding vice signaling? Should I watch more of this? Is this gonna get any better? Goes one-on-one in epic clash with Piers. Could this get any? Okay, let's keep going.
And my argument to respond to that is this: political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words could offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in. For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this: Black people don't want to live around Black people. I don't want to live around a bunch of Black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now, this uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States is committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be Black men. Look, the reality is a reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time because of what I said before: systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their.
All right, let me bring in Ricky to respond. Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I agree that virtue signaling went too far, that political correctness went too far, but we're going from virtue signaling being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised. It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word? I believe that she has the right. I disagree with it. But is she now being rewarded with $500,000? Why are we rewarding people for performing vice instead of virtue? This is not healthy. This is destructive to our society. This is destructive to our social fabric, to our culture, to our ability to live with other fellow Americans. It's gross to reward someone for bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the actual context. You can say that it's part of this bigger meta story of Black and white America, but it actually is just like a short little clip, and you don't even know the context of it, and it's actually gross. And if we can't just say that it's gross and bad, then I don't really know where we are.
Well, I think it's interesting to me that Lily Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, by saying he said Black people just raised $500,000 for a cold-blooded killer who stabbed a white teenager to death. So I don't want to hear one word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Because I agree with it. Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point, why are
nobody does?
Why are Jewish people allowed to be tribal? Why are Black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're
Yo, we are cooked, huh? It's been fun. It's really been fun. Shout out America, man. Shout out freedom. Shout out being able to kind of do whatever I want in society. It's been fun. I think humanity has had a good run. It really has. We are the greatest living organism in the history of the universe. But we just ran our course. Evolution's ran our course. Now we're going to devour ourselves with dumb dipshits like this woman and Myron. And it's been fun. Maybe some of the best of us will rise to the top and be able to create a small civilization. Maybe we'll create the Halo and go to inhabit Mars or something like that. Oh, we don't want to create the Halo. The Halo will destroy all living organisms in the universe. I'm sorry about that. Maybe we go to Mars, or maybe we create another society. You know what I'm saying? Like go on the ship and you just use the best of people, not like this dipshit Myron and this woman. So maybe that's the solution. But humanity's cooked. It's been fun. GG's. GG's. Yep.
You're labeled a racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist. Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there bold as brass and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country,
Yeah, we're cooked. Yeah, we're cooked. We are cooked.
you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable
offense. My fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street.
If I have to cross the street, oh my goodness. I apologize. You know what, Piers? I think we've been living in too much of a peaceful society where I was like, you know what? I don't like Piers because of certain. You know what, Piers? I apologize. I apologize. You're not nearly as bad. I forgot how terrible people really can be. I've been living in a little bit too much convenience. I'm gonna thank her for reminding me how garbage people actually can be. I'm appreciative. I've been spoiled by the differences of political rhetoric, but just forgetting the garbage human beings that exist. I don't think I want to watch the rest, but maybe let's see the final thoughts.
Let's go back to the panel there. I mean, Ricky, it seemed to me a lot of inconsistencies in Mr. Wells's position, not least the donning of the Christian hat when it suits them, but then removing it when it doesn't.
You know, I think it's definitely tough to make the call here and there and where to censor. I err on the side of not censoring as much as possible, but I agree with you that the selectivity of having issues with abortion, but not with these campaigns is certainly a problem. But I also want to go back to our point before too, and make the point that I hate this argument that because some people were tribal, we should be tribal too. And shouldn't we want to live in a society where we say tribalism is bad in general and negative in general, and so therefore we should be erring towards individualism and not fighting tribalism with more tribalism? I think that's a net negative.
I agree. Myron, your last words.
Well. Okay.
The thing with tribalism, it's a natural human instinct. Like, we are literally designed to want to be in communities and want to be.
I don't want to hear Myron. He's a fucking idiot. Jesus. I can't. Oh my God. That was so bad. Jesus Christ.